it happened 50 years ago, and it was highly publicised, as you know. So there was a huge amount to refer to, and as well, because it was 50 years ago, there are an enormous amount of contrasting stories about what happened, how it happened, who was involved, who wasn't involved, who was framed. You know, so it's a fascinating story to research. There's well, we're still talking about it 50 years later.
Let's take a look at you in the film. Here we go.
Thought of knocking it off before now?
They didn't have the Ulsterman, did they?
How many coppers?
That's the beauty. None. No transport police, no security guards.
Kidding me, nobody?
Yeah, now he's getting the glint.
What, nobody at all?
It's Her Majesty's mail, mate. Nobody'd have the nerve. That's how they all see it.
Even without police, still 75 men on board.
Only 5 on the HVP coach.
Yeah, but the other 70 aren't going to just sit there twiddling their thumbs while we have it away with these notes.
No, he fixed it so that they don't notice, Charlie.
Well, won't notice. What they've got to do is look out the window.
No,
Gordon's right. We can sort that. Don't say you're on the hook.
Big dreams, Chaz.
Oh, you got to fancy it, haven't you? The post office? One in the eye for all the old duffers running this country. What, is that what you think this is about? It's about getting the life you want. No, not want, deserve. Setting yourself up for good. House where you like, private schools for your girls. No more fruit and veg at 5 in the morning.
You'd never have to look a potato in the eye again, mate.
And, I mean, you know, it's extraordinary timing. And as we've been reporting the death of Ronnie Biggs this morning, we get, you know, lots and lots of people getting in touch with us to say, you know, he wasn't a lovable rogue. You know, these characters weren't sort of rebels, they were criminals. And this was, you know, a very brutal crime which left one man, you know, scarred for life. So it must be interesting for you trying to interpret this as an actor, sort of, you know, on the face of it, a media crime with a certain amount of reputation around it.
Absolutely,
But of course with a huge responsibility to tell a difficult story as well.
It is a difficult story, and you're right, it was a crime, and that's what we have to remember. And I think what the writer Chris Chibnall has done extremely well is absolutely not veer away from the seriousness of what they were doing, and you know, there were violent moments in their history, and we start with the Boat crime, which, you know, left a lot of injuries. They did use a lot of koshes and things like that. So, you know, we don't glamorize it. We use as much of the factual evidence that we have and give a sort of an unbiased portrayal of the event that we know, because, like I said, there are so many contrasting stories. You have to be very careful of what you know is fact and what is just a story that all we know is from, you know, what they weren't.
And from being, in criminal terms, sort of very well executed,
well, it was until a certain point. That was the thing,
well, and then they made a mistake. But it sort of cursed everybody who's involved with it, almost, apart from the 2 or 3 who got away with it. But an interesting moment in the film where they tell your character how much they've actually got, and you say it's too much.
Yeah, and he's the only one, if you notice, that sees the reality of the situation. And you know, in today's money, it's £44.5 million. That's
so why was it too much?
Well, to launder that amount of money, to get rid of that and make it clean, was impossible. They were burying it in gardens, they were putting it in walls of their caravan, anywhere they could put it, they were just stashing it and carrying ridiculous amounts of money in their pockets. You know, and so when they were caught, which almost all of them were, you know, they had money stuffed everywhere. It was a huge amount. I mean, in our terms, you know, between how many other robbers it was, trying to get away with. You can't put it in a bank account. You'd have to hide it, you know. So it was. It's a fascinating thing. But he knew straight away, and Bruce was very famous in the team because he liked to plan everything meticulously. He was a very well kept man. He looked fantastic, but his planning was, you know, to the dot. And when it went awry, he couldn't really. He got a bit confused and left. He couldn't get involved with that then because he had it all down to a T. And when the money was counted, and he realised it was more than $1 million, which is what they thought it was going to be. He straight away thought, well, how are we going to get rid of this? And he was right.